But they didn't have George Washington. They didn't have Thomas Jefferson. The French and their revolution was a wicked counterfeit of what happened here. And they attempted to take that over through Washington, and he said no later. And that's a whole other history. But I think about how domesticated we've become in this country. I think about how all over the country, I see the reports, I talk to parents, I meet parents where they're scared of an orange Nerf gun, where the schools are banning tag and dodgeball and hugging or talking. We're all becoming prisoners under a psychiatric dictatorship. Mothers think it's good to make their sons and daughters cowards and helpless, to raise them up to be hapless weaklings like legless and armless gerbils in a cage, disarmed, defanged, so the boa constrictors of big government can eat them at their leisure. Rediscover the spirit of 1776. Rediscover who your ancestors are. Rediscover what freedom really is. You know, in my film, Police State to the Takeover, we show government training manuals demonizing the Founding Fathers. In my film, The Road to Tyranny, we have footage of Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin being called terrorist by FEMA, brainwashing police. We've released over the years, that's been leaked to us, scores of inside government training manuals demonizing veterans, gun owners, conservatives, libertarians, real liberals who are against war, not the fake establishment type. You are the target of this criminal group. They know history. They know their history, and they know our history, and they know what they've got to destroy. They know what they've got to bring down. They know what they've got to demonize. But the way they've destroyed the image of George Washington is showing, you know, one of the final portraits of him, an old man, big lips, big mouth, big ivory, painful teeth. He really had ivory teeth, not wooden. You know, all the battle wounds he had going back when he was in the militia and fighting the French. They show that image of an old man, and they teach you in school that he had teeth that hurt and that he got bled to death. And that's all you're taught. It's just some boring, stuffy guy. They don't want you to know what founded this country, or they want to demonize the founders and talk about the problems and the bad things they did, which were there, but compared to their contemporaries around the world, these were the highest expression of the Renaissance, the highest expression of virtue, the highest expression of humanity, the highest expression of the Greek philosophers. I've studied it all. And it's not hype when you talk about our founding fathers and how great they were. The world marveled. The King of England said, he is the greatest man in the world. George Washington, turning down kingship, turning down the British payoff. The King of England called in several U.S. ambassadors, one of them, Adams, and said, you're going to need a king even if you win this thing in the future. The royalty really believed. They said, what about democracy? 51% will vote to rob the other 49. The howl of the mob. And they said, no, we have a republic where everyone's rights are protected. And that's why they've now replaced the republic with the democracy. If 51% say kill the other 49, it happens. And I want to read to you two different quotes attributed, confirmed to George Washington in letters and speeches, different variants of this. Unhappy it is, this is 1775, after Lexington and Concord, the massacres. Unhappy it is, though, to reflect that a brother's sword has been sheathed in a brother's breast, and that the once happy and peaceful plains of America are either to be drenched with blood or inhabited by slaves. Sad alternative. But can a virtuous man hesitate in his choice? George Washington after the battles of Lexington and Concord. Washington also repeatedly made the similar statement, but shorter, that it is better for our land to be drenched in blood than for us to become slaves of our own government. He said that in 1776 once he took command of the Continental Army. And so FEMA is right to hate George Washington because it is an alien, illegitimate, criminal, corporate receivership arm taking our country by fraud into bankruptcy and perfecting a neo-feudalistic form of serfdom, of shutting off people's resources through artificial scarcity and monopoly capitalism to create an ultra-super elite and shut down all their competition and have one-child policies and bring in a form of tyranny never dreamed of over man. In all the government textbooks, in all their reports, in all their own statements, this is a group of vicious, wicked, greedy control freaks versus free humanity that just wants to live and be comfortable and be free and be left alone. Well, you're not going to be left alone. George Washington wanted to be left alone. But government grew and grew and grew, and the bureaucrats were rude, and they violated the laws, and they were corrupt, and they did whatever they wanted. And when police shot innocent, unarmed citizens, men back then got angry, and they went to war. And these were men who owned a lot of property. They were members of the establishment, but they understood tyranny. There's another big reason men haven't risen up quicker, and that is because, and it's now been on Fox News and now in Japan and on, they want to put lithium in your water. An antipsychotic, they want to put Prozac. They're testing it. They want to put, what do you think sodium fluoride does? Why do you think your sperm count's down by over 85%? And they're bragging in the news. Our fertility's dropping. We're becoming sterile. It's so great. In The Economist, how the population problem is solving itself. Then you open it up, it says, the dividends of the demographic change, how it's bringing big benefits. They're killing you with chemical weapons.
The core message is unity. George Washington's the great unifier. He believes that the answer to how to have personal freedom and liberty is through a strong, united government. Don't love any country too much. Don't hate any country too much. Either one will lead you to act against your own interest. The goal is to establish an independent America, a strong, united America.
In 1797, George Washington handed over the presidency and returned to his beloved Mount Vernon. For 2 years he enjoyed life, receiving a steady stream of visitors and tending his plantation. Then early one winter morning, he rode out to inspect his estate. When he returned, he complained of a sore throat. A fever developed, and 2 days later, on the 14th of December, 1799, he died. He was 67 years old.
Okay, folks, the issue here is we're told that we have to constantly support other governments, get involved in wars, but that's the opposite of what George Washington said. But again, he's not a real American. Maybe he's Al-Qaeda, like FEMA teaches. How brainwashed are you, police and military? George Washington's now bad, and Maurice Strong and the UN, they're good. Well, we've got to give our rights up because the underwear bomber. Then you look at the evidence there, and that's clearly a staged event. You know, in the first hour of the show today, well, first off, I'm going to be spending more time, at least once a week, focusing in on a founding father. We'll go back over key founding fathers, little tidbits, history, more of their quotes. I've always done that, but not enough. We're going to get into what America is so people know the difference between the tyranny. They don't know what tyranny is because they never were given a choice. They think checkpoints and secret arrest is freedom. They don't know what real freedom was. They don't know what our real history is. People don't have basic logic. They don't understand everything's not the way it's presented, like who was good, the North or the South in the Civil War. Neither side. It was manipulated by British intelligence on both sides, and that's even mainline history, but not taught and not on mainline television. See, once people have a real view of history, it's all crystal. Once you learn this information, you can go out for yourself and know more than I do. But long live George Washington. What does that song mean? He's been dead for 200 and something years, 210 years. He's been dead for more than 2 centuries. Well, long live the idea. Long live real heroes.